Hi Internet people, it's Christmas in Riverdale this week, and oh my goodness, all of the surprises revealed. So, okay, at the end of the last episode, Bughead and someone said it's Varchie, I don't know, that's what I saw. So, Betty and Jughead, Archie and Veronica have broken up. So, technically, all of the core four are single. So what's going on is that they each have sort of their own thing going on, but different plots start to connect. So Betty and Archie's plot ties back together because Veronica has her own thing going on and Jughead has his own thing going on. So yeah, Betty is having these intense stress dreams. She actually imagines that the Black Hood shows up at her house in a Santa costume. Polly is there, like he's about to kill her. She wakes up in a crazy panic, thinking like she almost died. There's a Secret Santa at school. During the Secret Santa, Moose comes back, and then Archie like suddenly leaves because he's dealing with a ton of stuff. He actually starts thinking about the Black Hood, and he can't get past the Black Hood. And while he and Betty are talking, they notice that the janitor is a different guy. It's not, yeah. I want to just say JC because that's how I write it down when I take notes. But the Conway boy, he's not there. It's a new guy. They go to the office says that he's been out sick, and then the secretary's like, I left him some chicken soup. This time of year is so hard for him with no family. But she hasn't seen him, which is never a good sign. Ever. So Betty and Archie are going to look into what's going on with the janitor because they're just like, what happened? You talked to him. He revealed that he was the living Conway person. And that he identified the murderer and that they killed this preacher. Which is like what we know, but it's weird that he's suddenly gone missing. While Betty and Archie are dealing with that, Veronica is like looking into her own family and like snooping for presents, which leads to a larger like reveal for her. She also has purchased a bunch of very expensive gifts, including a gift for Archie, which she gives him, which leads him to reveal to her that they just received a medical bill for his dad. It's $86,000. They can't afford it. They're literally selling Christmas trees outside of Pops, like, so they have money to stay afloat. And Veronica wants to help him, but doesn't know how. And then she goes and asks her parents, and her parents are like, no, we're not helping with that. Like, that's a ton of money. No, don't even ask. Like, don't do this. So that happens. Then while she's snooping around for presents, after this event where she gets really angry at them and says, like, we have all this money. Like, what is going on? Why can't we help people? Like, we're terrible. Like, this is awful. While she's snooping, she finds the deed to Pops, realizes that her parents have the money to buy Pops, which they told her they didn't, and then they kept it from her, and they basically they straight up lied to her. So she confronts them, and then they're like, oh, we can tell, like, Hermione actually leads we can tell you what we do if you really want to be involved. So she wants to know exactly what Olive Lodge Industries does, but all of this gets prompted by her charging all of Fred's medical bills to her mother's American Access card. There were so many fake company names in this, like Spiffany's, and what was the name of the egg? Like, instead of calling it Fabergé, it was called like a Gabergé or something weirdly close but not quite. So there's that plot going on. I haven't tied any of these plots up yet, if you will notice. But really, Veronica's is that they tell her everything. We don't hear anything about Lodge Industries, but she says she won't do anything illegal. Hermione says, we never do anything illegal. Plausible deniability. But they'll pay for Fred's medical bills because they need him for something, which is shady as all get out. So while that's going on, I'm gonna hop to Jughead's plot because Jughead's plot actually ties up before Betty and Archie's does. There's also a plot with Cheryl. I will hit that really quick. Cheryl wants to celebrate Christmas. Her mom tells her they're broke. She tells her mom they need to get a job. When Cheryl leaves, she needs to get a job. Not that Cheryl's going to get a job. When Cheryl leaves the room, Nana Rose is like, you should have drowned them at birth like kittens. Which is super shady. Like, what is wrong with this woman? But, like, Cheryl's mom has to think of a plan. Cheryl winds up buying a tree. They don't have the money for a super fancy tree. And then at a certain point, Cheryl comes back home on, I think it is actually Christmas Day. It's like near the end of the episode. And her mom is sleeping with a dude. And admittedly, my internet connection was real wonky, so he was very blurry. I was having some buffering issues. But she's totally sleeping with a guy. So she figured out her new job plans. Cheryl didn't say how she had to figure it out. So that happened for Cheryl. Josie and Kevin are in this a little bit. Kevin hosted a Secret Santa. Josie gave Veronica a couples massage because Archie and Veronica hadn't broken up yet. We then see Josie and Kevin caroling together outside of Pops. They sound really, really good together. So I'm assuming it was the two actors actually performing, so it was really good. But that's really their plot. They don't have a lot going on in this episode. Though I do love that they were together. It made me smile. I still want more character development from them. But Jughead's plot. So Jughead wants to help FP deal with the snake charmer. FP does not want him involved. FP actually puts him on like toy patrol kind of. So the Serpents actually do really good charity work during Christmas. They donate gifts to Southside kids. So they're doing that. And then there's a delivery that should be happening. And then FP says Sweet Pea's gonna help instead of Jughead, and Jughead is not okay with that. He's really just irritated that his dad won't let him help. His dad wants him out of the Serpents. Like, he's very connected to the Serpents now. So the snake charmer's not going away. FP keeps making deals. At a certain point, FP's parole officer shows up and Jughead covers for him. Really just says he's out. The guy just talks to him. Then Jughead pulls out this bag from earlier in the day and he thinks it's a delivery. Turns out it's Christmas presents because FP wants to go visit Jellybean and their mom, who I really want to meet. Can we have FP, like, can we have Jellybean and the mom show up, please? They were going to go see her, so I don't know how that would work. But he is still talking to Jughead. Jughead is still saying, like, I'm part of the Serpents, like, this is who I am, like, he does not want this to, like, mean he's out, like, he's trying to help. So what he winds up doing is leading kind of a serpent revolt against Penny. He gets all of the teen serpents to come with him to take out Penny. Tony helps. She points out that one of the main rule is a serpent is never alone. They go after Penny. Penny does not anticipate any of this. She actually keeps telling, like, after they grab her, because they, like, swarm and grab her from her warehouse and drop her off in Greendale, right? It's where all the magic, spooky things happen. A wolf howls in the distance at night. So they drop her off there. Jughead says she can never come back to Riverdale. She's done. Never coming back. Don't do anything. She shows her tattoo. Says, like, oh, I think it's this arm. It's this arm. She shows her tattoo. Says that she's a serpent and you can't do this to her. And then Jughead literally cuts the tattoo off of her because he has gone dark side a little bit. Cuts it off. She's not visibly a serpent anymore. Also probably bleeding, kind of bad. But they've taken care of her. He winds up going back to FP saying that Penny is taken care of. FP is not okay with it. They have this huge, it's not a blow up, but it's this very intense discussion where Jughead tells FP he can't make him leave the Serpents. He's part of the Serpents. Like, this is like these are his people. Like, he's there for them. He can't kick him out. That he's handled it. And if she does come back, then all the Serpents will handle it together. So that happens with Jughead. Back with Betty and Archie, they're trying to figure out what has happened. Betty receives a Christmas gift. Her mom, Alice, who's like stress baking gingerbread cookies, tells her Secret Santa dropped it off. She opens it up. It's a finger. It's Conway's finger. Then the Black Hood calls because Archie comes over, and then he's like, exhume the past, unbury the truth or something. Like this whole big thing. Turns out that he used to be at the Sisters of Quiet Mercy, which is where Polly was, so Archie and Betty go there. They talk to the sisters. Betty threatens to expose all of their terrible things to the world, so they tell her he was here. He then revealed that he said it was one man, but it was not that man. So we actually don't know who the Reaper is, if that's the case. Fun fact to keep in mind, no one knows who the Reaper is now, but he thinks that he says that he actually told them the wrong person, but the people who did it, she can't really remember. She knows there's a woman with white hair and a big cherry red streak, and they're like, that's Nana Rose. They go to Nana Rose. Nana Rose says, no, the boy said I could not be there, but there was a photograph under the devil's hand, which does not sound legitimate. And then Betty's like, wait, my grandfather had a photograph, because Nana Rose says, your grandfather was there, Polly. And then they rush, find the photo, they figure out where they think JC is buried, because they heard JC on the phone, and Blackwood's like, he's losing a lot of blood, but you can save him. And then they go and they find this, like, grave marker, and they dig it up, and there's an empty grave, and then the Black Hood suddenly appears, and he holds a gun to Betty's head, and he says, get in the box. He doesn't actually say box, I think he says coffin. But, like, Archie gets the box because he says he's gonna shoot Betty in the head. Then Betty, like, is panic crying, mind you. It's not real. I'm very sure she's not actually crying on purpose. She's trying to distract him. So she, like, keeps saying, like, we can reveal it. We know all the, and then she hits him in the head with a shovel because they called the cops and the cops are coming. And then they chase after him. Archie pulls a gun on the Black Hood as he's trying to get away. And then there's a gunshot, but they also show Officer Keller with a gun. Again, my buffering was really bad. I'm pretty sure Keller actually shot him and not Archie, but I could be wrong. Black Hood is dead. They unmask the Black Hood, and it's Conway. Dun dun dun. But Archie's like, I didn't think it was him. Like later, he says, Veronica, you were right. I didn't see it in his eyes. It is very odd because he cut off his own finger, which seems very strange. And now that we know that the man who died was not the actual Reaper, that seems very suspicious. Like, there has to be someone else out there. There's got to be someone, because even if he blames himself for killing the wrong man, I'm wondering if someone convinced him to do all of this or was, like, making him do all of this. Because, again, the eyes were a different color. It's very strange as a killer to cut off your own finger, even if it wasn't... I don't think it's his dominant hand, but it's still weird that he would cut off his own finger, even just as proof, because then he'd be injured for any attacks he'd have going forward. So, very suspicious. On top of that, when the episode ends, we see, like, everyone talking. Jughead says, like, we should, like, everything's tied up. Let's just let it be done. That happens. Yes. But when Betty is burning all of the stuff, she is, like, throwing it in the fire. But when she goes to throw the hood in, she pulls the hood out. And Jughead's voiceover is that she felt something awaken in her, because this Jughead is our omniscient from the future Jughead who knows things that we don't yet. So he says all of that, and then Betty's like holding it and looking at it, and it's very, because we know she can be Dark Betty. She's gone dark before, so I have sort of a theory. This might sound a little weird, but I'm wondering if there are certain, because there's magic. I feel like there has to be magic in this Riverdale somehow, like some elements of magic. I'm wondering if some of the lines in Riverdale are, like, cursed, and maybe the Cooper line is cursed, and somehow Betty has this, like, dual personality situation going on, and maybe that's what's going on with the Reaper, or maybe the Reaper gets reborn and he's somehow inside of her. I don't know, but there's something, I don't know. Maybe it's a traveling energy. I don't really know, but I feel like there's some reason she can be Dark Betty and then feels a connection to the Black Hood. Like, there has to be something there that's more intense than just, like, she feels a connection to the Black Hood. There has to be something, especially because the Reaper hasn't been revealed. The real Black Hood I don't think has been revealed because it's just too simple. So I'm very, very curious. Also, Archie and Betty kissed and Cheryl saw, so I don't know how that's gonna go for anybody. But yeah, there's a lot happening. That tie-up doesn't feel like a real tie-up to me. I feel like it's gonna come back. I'm guessing something is going to happen with Greendale because Penny's now there and we've been going there a lot. I feel like it's going to come up. I know that a Sabrina spinoff is happening. It's going to be on Netflix and that would take place in that town instead of Riverdale. Also, when this show comes back in January, like mid-January, Southside High is closed, and so now everyone's back at Riverdale, which is convenient for plot development, and we're also going to meet Betty's magical, mystical brother. But we've seen him, like, they showed a brother in the promos, so unless there's, like, a big lie happening, that should be the actual brother. But I'm very interested to see how that will go. I'm interested to see what's happening with this Black Hood plot, because it's definitely not over, even if they're, like, back-burnering it a little for suspense. Definitely not over. So yes. Lots and lots of things, lots and lots of thoughts. Let me know your theories about the episode in the comments below or on Twitter. I'm at CleffNotes. You can find me on my blog, cleffnotes.wordpress.com. I write for the Nerdy Girl Express, thenerdygirlexpress.com, and I run their Snapchat, the Nerdy Girl EXP. Bye, Internet people.